So now let's work on some basic weight conversions. When we're converting weight, we want to convert pounds to kilograms. You have to remember that in every kilogram, there's 2.2 pounds. Kilograms are always smaller by about half. The easiest way I remember that is I always want to weigh in kilograms because then I only weigh half as much as what it looks like. So when I have 40 pounds, I want to convert that to kilograms. Now, the easiest way to do this is just know that you're going to divide by 2.2. Some people do get confused and they forget if they're going to divide or multiply. So if we want to stick that in a dimensional analysis, we can, just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to do it both ways. So like with the 40 pounds, I could put that into dimensional analysis where it has its own columns. I've got 40 pounds. And then I have my conversion, which puts my pounds on bottom. But I do have to remember that a kilogram is 2.2 pounds, not the other way around. And so then that shows me that I would divide. But basically what you're doing is taking your 40 and dividing that by 2.2. And so when you divide 40 by 2.2, I'm getting 18.181818. So I'm going to get 18.18 or 18.2, depending on how far you need to round that, whatever it says, whatever your directions tell you. Now on the next one, you see that we have 12.2 pounds. Now our point is not the same as ounces. That's what we'll do on the next problem. So when you've got 12.2 pounds, it's exactly the same way. I'm going to divide that by 2.2 to make it approximately half. So when we take 12.2 and divide that by 2.2, then we've got 5.545454. So again, depending on what you're rounding, if I round it to the 100th place, I'm going to have 5.55. Or if I'm going to round it to the 10th place, then I would just have 5.5. So if I was just going to round that to the 10th place, my answer was 5.54. So that the first 5 in the 10th place would not round up. So I would just end up with 5.5. And these are kilograms because that's what I wanted. I was trying to convert from pounds to kilograms. Now we run into a difference when we have pounds and ounces, because we can't put the pounds and ounces and just divide that by 2.2. 5 pounds and 2 ounces is not the same as 5.2 pounds because that would have been a decimal like what we had previously. So now we have to convert our ounces into pounds and add it to our 5 pounds. And we know that there's 16 ounces in a pound. And so we want to divide that, and we know that it's going to be a decimal point, so you're going to want your bigger number on top. So I'm going to take my 2 and divide that by 16. And when I divide 2 by 16, I get 0.1 or 0.13. We're going to go with the 0.1. So this would be 5.1 pounds. But I want it into kilograms, so I'm going to divide that by 2.2. And so when I divide 5.1 by 2.2, I'm going to end up with 2.32 or 2.3 kilograms. Now when we have dosages by weight, then we're going to add the kilogram conversion in to our problem. Simply because, like I said, in the PO or the oral doses, every step has its own column. So on this one, we see that we want to give Benadryl 6 milligrams per kilogram per day. So our ending is going to be per day unless they tell us what the dose size is. So on this one, we have 6 milligrams per kilogram. That was one bit of information, so it gets its own column. Our child's weight is 36 pounds. So we're going to put it over 1 so that it looks like a fraction. Now there's nothing here we can cancel because we've got kilograms and pounds. So we're going to have to put a conversion in here. And so I know that my kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So if I go back and I take out my labels, my kilograms come out, my pounds come out, and I'm left with milligrams, which is what the question is asking for. How many milligrams will you give? So then I just do my math. When I do my math, I do 6 times 36 for the top, which is 216. And then on the bottom, I have 1 times 2.2, which is just 2.2. So when I take 216 and divide that by 2.2, then I end up with 98.18, 98 point, however it's asked for, 18. That could be 98.2, or it could just be the 98. It depends on what your problem is asking for, because this is just asking how many milligrams I'm going to give. So let's try another one with pounds to kilograms. Okay, so on this one, we're trying to figure out 30 milligrams per kilogram per day. And your child weighs 75 pounds. Sorry, that's jumpy. It's not catching it all. So we know that we have to have our conversion in there. So again, a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So we cancel our labels to make sure that we have what we need. Our kilograms cancel, our pounds cancel. We're left with milligrams, and that's what we want. That's what our answer is asking for. So then we do our math. And so we have 30 times 75 on top, which gives us 2,250. And our bottom is just 1 times 2.2. So we're going to divide that by 2.2. So when we divide 2,250 by 2.2, then we get 1,022.72 or 0.7. And that tells you how many milligrams that you're going to have. milligrams. Let's try another one that looks a little different. On this one, you have a medication that's 7.5 milligrams per kilogram per day. Now this one says in 4 equally divided doses. And this says how many milligrams will you administer in each dose. So we want to be able to break this down into doses. And our order is per day. So I'm going to stick my day down here because I need one column with all of that information. And so next I know that my child weighs 42 pounds. I know that my conversion is 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So now if I was to try to cancel out, my kilograms cancel, my pounds cancel, but I'm left with milligrams per day. And I want per dose. So I'm going to add that conversion in here. And it tells us that there's 4 doses in each day. So I'm going to say a day is 4 doses. So now my days cancel and I'm left with milligrams per dose. So now I'm just going to do my math. And so what I have on the top is 7.5 times 42, which gives me 315. And then on the bottom, I have 1 times 2.2 times 4, which gives me 8.8. So then when I take the 315 and divide that by 8.8, I'm going to get 35.8 milligrams per dose. Sorry, 35.8 milligrams per dose. So let's try another one. Let's try 25 milligrams per kilogram. And this is per day, but it doesn't break it down into how many doses. So our label says that we've got 300 milligram tablets. So I know that my 300 milligrams is going to have to go on the bottom. My tablets is going to go on the top. Now I can't forget about my child's weight. That's a whole nother bit of information that has to be in here. So there's my 110 pounds. So I need that conversion in there. My kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So then I'm going to start canceling some labels and see if I'm right. I've got my milligrams, I've got a kilogram, I've got pounds, And so I'm left with a tablet, and it's asking me for how many tablets I'm going to give. So now I do my math, or I can take out some zeros. There's a 0 and there's a 0. So then I have 25 times 11, which gives me 275. And then on the bottom, I have 30 times 2.2, which gives me 66. So when I divide 275 divided by 66, I get 4.2 tablets. I can't give a partial, so I'm going to have 4 tablets. Remember, I said we could give a half, but not anything different than that. So we're going to give 4 tablets. Let's try another one. This one we've got 20 milligrams per kilogram per day. It tells us that it's in 4 doses, and we want doses at the end. So I could put my day in here. Is 4 doses. Then my label has my milligrams and my mils. So I know that my milliliters is going to have to go on top so that my milligrams will cancel. I've got 250 milligrams and 1.5 milliliters. And I've got my child's weight in there. And he weighs 55 pounds. So I know that I'm going to have to convert that. So my kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So now let's cancel and see what we have. We've got a milligram on top, a milligram on bottom, a day on bottom, a day on top, a kilogram on bottom, a kilogram on top, pounds on top, pounds on bottom. And so I'm left with milliliters per dose, which is what I want. That's what my question's asking for. So then I just do my math, or I take out some zeros. So I'm going to take out a 0 on the bottom, a 0 on the top. And so then all I have to multiply is 2 times 1.5 times 55, which gives me 165 on the top. And then on the bottom, I have 4 times 25 times 2.2, which gives me 220. So then when I divide 165 divided by 220, then I get 0.75 milliliters per dose. So that's how much I'm going to give per dose. I hope these help.